His name is John Quinn. Many of you know him. He is the sports editor at the Philadelphia Inquirer. He has done sports editing for a variety of other conglomerates, including the Stanford Advocate. John, I want to thank you so much for joining us. What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm a little riled up about this Ken Giles news, but we'll get to that later. We're talking some football, and often hot topic of debate. I mean, you can't even turn on the sports dial in this city year-round without hearing some Eagles football. This division is such a wild card, no pun intended. You got 3 teams at 5-7, 1 team at 4-8, and who knows what they could do. Going forward, the Eagles have proven to us, hey, we're still there. We're still here. Are the Eagles a real player in the NFC East, or are they a pretender?
Well, first of all, you cannot use the wild card because the only chance they have is to be the division winner. So that's one. 2, it's attrition. It's the survival of the fittest, and somebody has to win. So that's another problem. I would like to know the Boolean algebra for the tiebreaker for 1, 2, 3, or even 4 teams tied at the end. I think they should have a battle royale. Play one series, each team, 4 teams in one building, and the winner is the NFC East champion.
The ratings.
The problem. The big problem is that they can win this week. They can win next week. They can win 3 of their last 4 games and be in great shape. I would imagine the whole season is going to come down to the last game against the Giants. That doesn't mean they're playing well. I mean, they have played well in spurts. I don't even think they played that great against New England, except for 5 incredibly individual plays that were just, it's like the team from last year. The team last year had a lot of takeaways. It had a lot of returns for touchdowns. It had a lot of huge plays, and people forgot that because they didn't have any for the first 10 games. But, that's one thing that's tremendous at times is their special teams play.
Yeah, they are a hot and cold team, hit or miss. They're like, they'll catch fire at the right second, but it'll be extinguished right away. Sometimes, like you just said, they had some spectacular plays and they had some not so spectacular plays. But an all-encompassing thing, it's just glad to see them win with Sam Bradford. It's just good to see him back on the field and see them get that W. Now there's a flurry of topics surrounding this Eagles team, but something that I've been very adamant about all season long is that DeMarco Murray is not getting the job done. He was, whatever the story is, point is he sat next to Jeff Lurie on the flight. He spoke to him about his role in the team, and frankly, he got what was coming to him. Kenyon Barner got 12 carries. DeMarco Murray got 13, and he just hasn't been cutting it. Do you see a scenario where DeMarco Murray regains the lion's share of carries for the Eagles?
Well, I don't think he'll ever get the lion's share because of how he runs. I mean, the guys you're talking about, Ryan Matthews, even Kenyon Barner, they run north-south and they put their head down. DeMarco Murray doesn't do that. I think the key thing is, and I think Jeff McClain wrote a little bit about it too. He had Des Bryant. He had the tight end, the great tight end. So a lot of the field was open, and he's actually a pretty good pass catcher. They kind of underutilized him in that position. If you remember years ago, near the end of Westbrook's reign, he was tremendous coming out of the backfield. Shady caught the ball out of the backfield. They run specific plays for him out of the backfield passing. So I think that they have to. It's kind of a stubborn stalemate. You have DeMarco Murray, who's very good at certain things, but it's not the things that they call at the line of scrimmage. So either you adjust and let him be good at what he's good at, or you use somebody else. So I think they're at loggerheads, and he can break off a couple of longer runs. I mean, I think that's where Matthews and Barner. I mean, they can get to the secondary. They don't get through the secondary, gain 60 yards on a 15-yard play. But no, I think these people are stubborn. I think Chip is stubborn, and I'm not sure about the offensive line. I mean, Jason Peters has been hurt a lot of the year. Lane Johnson's been nicked up a little bit. I think a lot of it has to do with how healthy the offensive line is too.
Yeah, the O-line has just been, there's a lot of turnover there. So on any other team in the NFL, I mean, when you have that much turnover at the O-line, it's going to be an issue. And JT, I've been very adamant all year about how Ryan Matthews should be getting the lion's share of these carries. I mean, a superior talent. He's faster. He makes better cuts. I think he makes better decisions. But speaking of running backs, LaShawn McCoy is in town.
Yeah, that's correct. John, I just want to get your take on how do you think he'll be recepted by, the Philadelphia faithful, when he's, on the field, if he's introduced, do you think Rex Ryan will have him, be a captain? Because I saw him.
I don't know if he'll be a captain, but I think the fans will love having him back. Shady made things happen. Shady's a star. Shady's got charisma. Shady, you don't know what you have till it's gone, and now they realize. Deshaun Jackson left town, but they still had a year of Macklin, and now it's like seems like eons since Deshaun's been around. But Shady, Shady is a star. He's still a star. He could have a huge day on Sunday. I think the fans love him. They didn't care about whatever perceived indiscretions he had. Especially now that you've seen all the issues with like Julio Okafor and other people,
right?
Real life issues. Shady doesn't seem to be such a bad guy after all, no matter how you look at it. So, the fans love him. I think they'll give him a rousing ovation.
I agree. Yeah, he's beloved in this town. He was just such a playmaker. He was so good, John, that LaShawn McCoy made the fans of Philadelphia. Forget is the wrong word, but you're going to get where I'm coming from when I say this. Forget about Brian Westbrook very quickly. LaShawn McCoy was that talented. And just to ship him out like that, we just had Tom LeMay on the show, and he said he's learned over the years that it's very easy to talk about having a Monday or being a Monday morning quarterback. And imagine how good this team would be if just one little tweak, if they didn't trade McCoy and Jordan Hicks stayed healthy, so they didn't have Alonzo, they would be so much better.
Well, I think the trouble with Hicks, though, he's almost a first-round talent, but you got him in the third round because he was injury-prone. So then he got injured. You know what I mean? So even Alonzo allegedly was a higher talented guy, although he hasn't shown it. But again, the same thing. Same with Bradford. You roll a dice. Risk-reward. The problem is that the risk is getting hurt, and they did. So. But yeah, even Ryan Matthews got hurt. Running backs get hurt all the time.
He's been injury prone too.
That's part of what you do when you draft players and when you trade for players or sign players as free agents.
The fact is, yeah, you're absolutely right. The fact is, the Eagles are going to need DeMarco Murray just by sheer fact that he'll presumably stay healthy. They're going to need him to take those carries because you can't run Sproles out there for that amount of carries every single game. Now,
no, but Sproles is. I think he's the wild card. If you remember using the wild card. The beginning of last year when they had a great start, he returned kicks to touchdowns. He was this sort of instant offense. He spread the field the way Deshaun did. And then he went silent. The last half of last season, for some reason, no one is not quite sure why.
Right. And
then again this year, he played a little bit in the beginning, and then he went silent again. When he's on the field, things happen, and I think they realize that. And he's got to be utilized more. I'm not saying 20, 30 carries, but he's got to be utilized.
Let's go from one team at Lincoln Financial Field to another. And a little side question here, John. TD-ECU Stadium, where the Houston football squad plays, also named John O. Quinn Field. Any relation?
No. I was trying to find that out because I don't know where the O came from. No, and it's funny you say that because I had a problem with playing the game there because the conference, the All-American Conference, to me, I was watching a lot of football last Saturday, and every other game was on a neutral field. And there were a lot of Houston red jerseys and red clothing in that stadium. It was a decided home field advantage for Houston, and I think it took a while for Temple to get into that game, and I thought it was a shame because once they got back in it, it was a football game. So
yeah.
But anyway, no relation. There's a lot of John Quinns out there, but that's not one of them. So.
Yeah, they were so close, and Temple just. I think they are good enough to beat Houston on a good day. It's just they came out so flat to a point where they just couldn't recover from it. They made some crucial mistakes, and that's how the cookie crumbled, unfortunately. But, Temple gets the Boca Raton Bowl against Toledo. So, hey, who knows? Anything could happen. But all in all, it's been a phenomenal season from Coach Roll and the Temple Owls. And did you ever imagine in all your years covering Philadelphia sports that a college, not even Temple, forget the fact that it's even Temple, just a college football team could draw so much attention away from the Philadelphia Eagles, who are king in this town?
Well, I think the second part of that question is that a bad Eagles team or a struggling Eagles team, you can do it. A good or a great Eagles team, you wouldn't be able to do it. This town is very interesting. When Steve Adazio took over for Al Golden, and Penn State came here, Joe Paterno was one of his last games, and they played a hell of a football game at the Link, and actually, believe it or not, Adazio outcoached Paterno. Temple looked like the better football team, and it was a sort of a heartbreaking end to that game. That was the first sign that it could really happen. And then when he left and Rule, had a little bit of up and down, but I think the biggest game in history, even though they lost to Notre Dame, it was on Saturday night national TV, and they played their eyeballs out. It was an even game. They at times outplayed Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. They passed the eyeball test. If you're a kid anywhere in the country, you're watching them, go head to head with Notre Dame, and think about the city of Philadelphia. I think they did a wonderful job that night of putting the program where it should be. I mean, Notre Dame is 2 plays away from being in the national championship Final Four,
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it wasn't like they were outplayed that day. They both played well. They both played hard. And, Tyler Matakevich, I mean, he might win another award tonight. He's just had a phenomenal career. Single-handedly, because of the transition that does left, and there's always some confusion between Matakevich stepping up so big and P.J. Walker, playing quarterback, and then P.J. Walker suggesting Jahad Thomas should be a running back, not a back. Those things might have changed the history of Temple football.
Yeah, unbelievable, by the way, about Matakevich and the precedent he's setting. The names he's now associated with: Terrell Suggs, who am I missing? Elvis Dumerville, Champ Bailey, and Ndamukong Suh.
Well, Ndamukong Suh, man, he's a big boy. He's not that big, but I mean, when you look at the history of these awards, the Narek Award, the Lombardi Award, and all these other awards, he and Nassib from Penn State were up for. I mean, these are historical awards. These are all pros every year compete for these awards. This is tremendous. This doesn't happen. It's like Monet Davis or Smarty Jones. These are once in a lifetime things, and this guy has done that. Unless Matt Rule recruits the hell out of people, Matakevich is going to go down as one of these iconic figures.
Hey, keeping it on Matakevich, most people expect him, to go to the draft this year. Where do you think, he'll land in the draft? And once he is, hopefully drafted, how much of an impact do you think he could have, in the league?
Wow, that's a great question. Problem is size, and the problem is speed. I mean, if you look at Sean Lee, and he may be, one of the best. Sean Lee and Luke Kuechly are, 2 of the most incredible, great talents at linebacker. But you need size, and he's going to have to bulk up to play that size. I mean, he reminds me a little bit of Urlacher, except Urlacher was bigger.
It's quite an endorsement.
He can't play free safety because he's not big enough for that. So he's got to be. He plays the middle. He plays the middle really well. To move outside, I mean, you look what the Eagles are trying to do. Colin Barwin, even Brandon Grantman, they would, they're trying to make defensive linemen into outside linebackers as a 3-4. I think he's got a shot as an inside linebacker. He's got to put on more muscle. He's got to get a little more quick twitch, reaction speed. I mean, if you watch Sean Lee and you watch him play, when there's a running play, I mean, he's almost running full speed from the minute the ball is snapped, and it takes him full speed to get to the ball carrier because that's how fast the pro game is. I mean, when Monte Teo came out of college at Notre Dame, he looked like one of these. Oh, he's going to be a future great linebacker. They played Alabama in the national championship game, and he was a step behind. He couldn't keep up with the Alabama running backs, and he's just a dime a dozen guy now. That's the problem. It's the instinct to make the right move first, but then it's big enough to play the position. So I mean, I think he's a great player. I think great players can make the league. It's just that he's got to get stronger, bigger and stronger.
Yeah, he's got the brain, and that's good. And that goes a long way. And it's funny you talk about his style, and yes, he does need to be a little bit faster, but he seems to be a good fit in the Eagles' defense. Rather, now again, that's wishful thinking. The NFL plays out the way it does. We don't have to touch on that, but. Last thing for you, I want to talk a little bit about Ken Giles because this is a big deal. Ken Giles is one of the most prolific closers, I want to say, in baseball history, but that's wrong of me. He's only done it for 100 innings, but in 100 innings, he has the lowest ERA out of all relievers, closers rather, ever. I mean, what are your thoughts on the Phillies' return? Because they really need to get a big return for this guy.
Well, it's interesting. I think they learned a lesson when they signed Papelbon as a free agent, and then went a year and a half without ever using him because they had the great closer and no chance to close games. So I think the position of closer is not big at all if you're lousy, and it's tremendously important if you're really good. I remember Brad Lidge. I mean, that's one of the reasons why they won the World Series. The year after that. I mean, they did get to the World Series, but they had no closer. It was horrible. They were blowing games left and right. So you realize how good Giles is. I mean, he's got a closer's mentality, which, is tremendous. I mean, you can't teach that. It's got to be a personality thing. You saw the Mets blow games in the World Series. Their closer blew 3 games. The Mets should have won the World Series in 5 games if they had Giles. So, I mean, think of that.
Yeah.
If the Mets had Giles, that's the World Series champions in 5 games.
John,
we're talking about them.
John, we're up against it. I just want to share this one last thing with you. Ken Giles, all-time strikeouts per 9 innings, all-time with minimum 100 innings pitched among relievers. He is 16th all-time. The only guys ahead of him, I'm going to give you this list real fast. Chapman, Kimbrel, Kenley Jansen, Dylan Betances, Andrew Miller, Carlos Marmol, Will Smith, Rob Dibble, Greg Holland, Jim Henderson, David Robertson, Brad Boxberger, Billy Wagner, Brad Lidge, Carter Capps. And out of all of those guys, he has the lowest walks per 9 rate out of all of them. I remember at the Philly Temple Radio, Journalism Summit, we were talking a lot of sabermetrics and whatnot. And John, I just want you to know, I feel like the Phillies have made an enormous mistake. I don't think they got nearly enough of a return for him, but we need to wrap things up here. We're way up against it. I really appreciate your time.
No problem.
Thanks so much. This was
got
great.
it, Zach. Anytime.
Thanks, Tom. Or excuse me, John. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.